It's me, the D-O-double-G. Welcome to the Eden Army Podcast with your host tonight, Pete Robert Tucci.
Let's go, Eden Army. Welcome, guys. My name is Pete Robert Tucci. We host this little podcast every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got a lot of people in the house today already. Let me go over here to chat and recognize some of you fine folks. Guy, of course, is in the house. Terry's always in the house. She was the first one, of course, besides me and Russ. I didn't see EA Army number 1 yet. Fireman Ed's in the house. Rev made it on time. Good job, buddy. You did it. Chris is here. Hey, Chris. Keeping everything down in the 386, I hope. Baby girl's in the house. There's Eden Army number 1. Love you, girl. The mama's in the house. Hey, mama. Angry mama. Who else we got here? Anyway, and Meta, of course, is in the house. Guys, there's a lot going on in the news today. It's all right. Don't get excited. We're here to break it down a little bit for you. I'm telling you not to be alarmed, all right? And we can stand down, guys. We can stand down. Look, the Trump verdict is not the end-all for our constitutional republic. Actually, in contrast, this verdict has brought to light the two-tiered justice system that has been forming against the middle class for a very long time, right? Violent felons are let free in the blue states like New York and California, where it appears that straight Caucasian Christian males are now bearing the brunt of the Democratic judicial thugs that reside in the White House. Isn't that right, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse? You bared the brunt of that for quite some time, didn't you, young man? A national hero, by the way, if anybody wants my opinion on it. But look, the Beltway can claim all they want that this trial wasn't a political witch hunt. But when they roll out their aging celebrities to put on full display their Trump derangement syndrome, that says it all, doesn't it? Let's listen real quick to one of those deranged celebrities, Mr. Robert De Niro, who made a fool out of himself. Let's listen.
Destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city.
Your city.
I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot.
And guys, we will get to the chat. I know we all want to chat about this right after I go through this little news brief, and we're only going to do Trump news tonight. But once I go through this, we're gonna talk about it. All right, we're gonna talk about it. But let's listen to this wannabe Guinea gangster bastard.
A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city. It's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him as we did started to support him. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault and who just a couple
Pay attention to what he says there, because we're going to talk about Mr. Robert De Niro and his ethics here in a second.
of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. Somehow, he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why
Death and destruction in its wake. There was only one person that was killed on January 6th, an unarmed veteran, by the way.
I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
I want to buy your house.
So we'll stop that right there, because I'm sick of that guy. First of all, used to be a hero to the Italian population here in the United States. Now he's turned into a talking point for the Democratic Socialist Party, right? So what do the New Yorkers think about that? Let's find out.
We'll deal with that. Give me back. Just give me back. All right, guys. Little room, guys.
Absolutely.
Little room, guys.
Paid sellout for the DNC, they're saying.
You touch kids! You touch kids! You suck my your mother should have swallowed.
All right. Well, that got a little colorful there. The New Yorkers, as we well know, are a little bit brash when it comes to how they feel about people, right? They like those type of people, the Northeast mentality, until Trump gets elected, and then all of a sudden they all hate him. They all just go ahead and distance themselves. Oprah Winfrey, all the people from The View, they all loved Trump until he was elected and found out he wasn't part of the establishment. Now they all hate him. But what that shows us is the populace within New York still, for the most part, still does love this guy. So let's talk about Mr. Robert De Niro. Let's talk about how good of a person he is. Notice here, he was one of the visitors for Epstein Island. Okay, Lord knows what he did there. Who knows? Because maybe that's what he's worried about, guys. Maybe he's worried about what Trump's gonna bring out in that Epstein. Maybe this list will not only just show the people who actually went to Epstein Island, but what they did. And then Mr. Robert De Niro in Paris, France, was arrested and interrogated for a prostitution ring. So this right here is the poster child for the left, the Democratic Socialist Party. This is their poster child. This is who they bring outside of the Trump courthouse to talk about the ex-president of the United States. But this is not political, okay? But this was an actual speech put forth by the Biden-Harris administration. So that's who they send forth to talk about it, talk about Mr. Donald Trump. But look, let's forget about this midget wannabe gangster. What's the actual result? What's the actual outcome of this verdict? The Trump verdict not only fired up Republican donors, but for the first time, many donors that never actually donated to the Republican Party. In the first 6 hours after the verdict, the Trump campaign netted $34.8 million. And he continued to increase his lead in the polls. So when you ask Pete, what do you think about all this? We know what this is all about, guys. We know what this is all about. This is to keep that man out of the White House again, because for whatever reason, the establishment is scared to death of him. But that's all my take on it. I'm going to tell you again, everybody stand down, relax, don't get excited, let this thing play out. I will tell you that Fox News, this is Fox News, this is not Pete's opinion, this is Fox's news, said should, during sentences, Donald Trump be arrested, that there could potentially be a revolution in the United States. Fox News, not Eden Army, Pete Robert Tucci news, but that is their news. So that's where we're at, guys. We're going to talk about it here for a little bit before we talk about some other things. But that's my take on the Trump thing. I want to hear your take on it, and we will go from there. Russ, if you'll go ahead and punch in. There you go. Let me turn you on. Let's read some any chat. What are people thinking about this whole thing? Let me get you turned on. Gotcha.
They have quite a myriad of opinions, all of them that go pretty much right in line with the ones you and I have discussed off camera. Is disheartening to see what's going on out there, and we can go through the chats if you want. No, if you see one that you want me to pin up, I'll pin her up.
Absolutely. Guys, I'm just going to look through the chats real quick. If there's any questions that I missed, absolutely hit it again, or if Russ misses it, just pop it up and again, and we will look at it. Will's in the house. Hey, Will. Agnes, how are you doing, young lady? Who else is in the house that I missed? Egghead Warrior is in the house. Hey, Egghead, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Dan's here.
VCFP, who's
that's
that?
Agnes, yeah.
Okay, that's Miss Agnes, okay.
Madman Wayne is in the house.
I had to post this comment up of Agnes's. It was great.
Go ahead.
And I actually, considering my Italian is extremely rusty, I still understood what this one meant.
Just remember, you get a little lag time.
Yeah. There it goes.
Stunad. My girl. My girl. You know, and I cut it loose earlier, but they were calling him a mook also, Agnes. Yeah, listen, guys, here's the deal. They would love nothing more than to have us do something stupid. Now's not the time. Everybody stand down. Get your preps in line. If you need freedom seeds, get them now, because like Angry American said last night on his podcast, I suspect there's going to be a shortage here soon. So, Reverend Finn says, my standard question, what's the plan and who to report to? It won't ever happen. I don't know what the grand scheme of things, what the plan is, Rev. Who do you report to? Listen, if you haven't set up a mutual assistance group by now, you need to be in tight contact with them. You're like-minded people. You need to be in tight contact with them, certainly. And have a plan. And guys, listen, go to the grocery store this week. Buy some canned goods, all right? Buy some stuff that you don't have to go out again should something happen, right? So,
especially near term.
Yeah, and Jeff, you're right. There may be a red flag event, active shooter type of thing. There may be somebody with a red hat going into a whatever. You know, it's all bullshit, right? And, yeah, we just need to be aware of it. But look, and if you've read my books, and this is the way I actually think, if these people are stupid enough, let the whole world around us burn down then, guys. Let it burn down. You take care of you and yours. And that's what preparedness is all about. Take care of your group, take care of your family, and I've changed my mantra. You know, it used to be God, country, family. It's not that anymore. It's faith, family, country. And that's just the environment we live in. So those are the orders and things I will give my life for. And you need to pretty much have that type of mantra if you decide to roll this thing out. What was Will saying? Yeah, Fox, I don't think they're boating us into war, but I think they want us prepared. Look, there's a lot of people that follow this guy. There is a lot of people, more, some would say less than half the country. I say more than half the country are following Donald Trump. And it's not because he's a nice guy. He's an asshole. Let's face it, he's an asshole, but he's not one that's in the establishment. And I don't care what anybody says, his policies were good for the United States of America. People like you and me, they were good. So let's see what else we got here. So I haven't deleted any of your comments yet, Will. I haven't gotten to them all, though, but it could possibly happen. Let's see. Guys, if you're tuning in on any of the other social media platforms, we're going to break this loose here in a little bit and do our normal broadcasting on kick.com/Pete-Robertucci. So make sure you move over there to get the real content, but we got to get through this news because, look, this is the elephant in the room, right? This is what everybody's talking about in the preparedness world. It's what MSNBC is talking about. It's what Fox is talking about. So we need to be aware of it, and we need to be prepared for it because depending on what happens on July 11th, is that the verdict? Is that when the sentences come down?
Yeah,
11th or 21st?
July 11th of July.
Yeah, so things should happen. Not from people like us, not from good old red-blooded Americans, but from some of the radicals. And don't get me wrong, there are radicals on both sides of the spectrum, all right? On the right side, there are radicals, and on the left side. But as red-blooded Americans, we need to prepare ourselves and our families for what could potentially come. That's what preparedness is all about, right? So, good to go. Let's see. Yes, we always start right at 8 p.m., guys, because Russ is behind there, clicking the buttons. Yeah. I'm going to move this over a little bit, Russ. I'm going to get us a little. There you go. That's better.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Aside from the fact that I hit the wrong button too early because the way the screens are set up right now.
No, you.
But other than that, we're good.
He's always behind the scenes. Yeah, you're right, Will. He isn't. He's an asshole. Look, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner because I've spent some time in the Northeast, but that's the New York City mentality. You're a rough and tough asshole. That's just the way it is. They loved this guy until he got elected, until he started shaping policy that actually took money out of their pockets and went in back to the American people. I've never gotten a bigger tax return in my life than when Donald J. Trump was president. And I am certainly on the lower spectrum of middle class. So the gnomes are here. Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Well, and the thing is, when, you talk about the people, people have a right to be upset. Don't get me wrong. But the left is looking for the right to respond the way they did so they can shut the country down or enact martial law, whatever the case may be. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, and that's what...
Like you said.
Yeah, that's what Rev's saying right here. There won't be an election. They don't want an election, first of all. They certainly do not because they're lagging so far in the polls. But... goes back to that red flag event, and it also goes back to how stupid are those radical right-wing people going to take this. Now, I'm telling you, the conservative news agencies are already beating the drums. You're right, Will. They're beating the drums, and I don't know when the time is. I don't know. How far do how far does middle class America get pushed until they realize that we have a tyrannical government up there in the Beltway? I don't know the answer to that, but I tell you that shot will be heard around the world. I can tell you that for a fact. So guys, this is the time right now just to talk. And like I said, I have no other news. There is other news out there, but I just wanted you guys to air out, what you had to say here, and we can give our commentary on that. So. Yeah, and here's the thing. You're right, Rev. I'm not going to pin that because it takes a little bit. But he says even if the left, sometimes the left will go ahead and masquerade themselves as right wingers. Right? We saw that a lot on January 6th. We saw that a lot
Yes,
on
we did.
January 6th. All right, but it doesn't matter for guys like me and you, Rev. We do our thing, right? We do our thing, and we protect our faith first and foremost, and then our family after that, and then the whole world can burn around us, brother, and
Absolutely.
we'll be good to go.
I just pinned Terry's post, or tried to.
You got it. You got it. It's up.
Yep. Terry goes, I think everyone knew what the outcome was going to be, but the realization of just how bad the justice system has gotten is the sad part. And it could happen to us too. And Terry, you are absolutely right. I think that is going to sway more voters, if there is an election, toward Trump than anything else out there. Because people, while they act stupid, especially when it comes to politics, left versus right, when it comes down to something like this, it might make them sit back and go, maybe this would happen to me. So,
and the fact of the matter is, Terry, you are 100% correct. The thing of it is, we're already seeing what's happening for these January 6th political prisoners that are being still held in solitary confinement. Right? These are people that just went in. Maybe they didn't even go into a public building. Maybe they stayed outside, but they're still being held without due process in most cases in solitary confinement. It's ridiculous. But here's the thing, guys. And Madman Wayne says the Constitution is no more. The Constitution, Wayne, still exists. But how are they applying that? Okay, now I'm gonna say something that's not very comfortable to say for most of my viewers. But I'm going to say it, and I think that the Trump campaign, this needs to be their political slogan if they truly want to get the minority votes. I think the Trump campaign should say, we are seeing now what the minorities have been complaining about with the justice system for the last nearly century. We are seeing that, but we haven't listened to it because it didn't happen to rich white guys. All right. If he comes out with that campaign slogan, and if he runs that over and over again, this will be a landslide unlike anybody's ever seen before. This will be a landslide bigger and better than when Reagan beat the shit out of Carter. Okay. If he does that. So listen, I know that the Trump campaign's listening to this kick.com podcast, but
absolutely.
Do that, and you will get the minority votes you need. And the fact of the matter is, I don't understand why minorities have been voting for the Democratic Party for all of these years other than free handouts, because they have shit on them since their inception. They were the people behind slavery. They were the people who fought the civil rights movement, and they were the people who fought against desegregation. So hopefully this time around, they understand. And I think there's a movement that they truly do understand that. Let's see what Rev says here. We're supposed to obey who are over us, who's our leader, the Constitution of the United States. That is our leader. The Constitution of the United States is the leader of this country. Okay, regardless of who is sitting at the White House, the Constitution rules supreme. And also, guys, if this hits appeals, it's going to, I firmly believe it's going to go out the door. If they can move it out of New York, it needs to go to a federal level before anything will change. Yeah, you're right. He does need to be, Jeff says he needs to be the nominee before sentencing. I agree. I think the Republican Party needs to come out and say, this is our nominee. Now, this is clear election tampering. Right here, it's clear. It's what it is. This is doing away with your opponents, your political opponents. Yeah, and here's Terry says it's what Mom and Daddy always told me, how to vote. Yeah, you're right. It's how to vote. Now their eyes are being opened, and I'm assuming you're talking about the minorities in the country. Listen, when I was growing up, until I actually had to make a living for myself and I had to go to work because I needed to eat. I was a hardcore Democrat. I'm not going to lie to you. Melissa was a Republican. I was a Democrat. We clashed heads constantly. I was a pro-union guy. I still am a pro-union guy for the most part. But the fact of the matter is I think that the Democrats have done such a good job with entitlements, with handouts, that the minorities in this country will continue to follow them. But I think that's changing. I think that's moving. I think now everybody's beginning to understand what the Democratic Socialist Party is all about. Just my opinion. So I know I'm talking fast, guys. I'm sorry. I'm amped up. I'm just happy to be here. Glad. And listen, we do have thunderstorms coming in to the North 40 tonight. So if I just drop off the air, it's probably not an NSA thing. It probably is lightning. But we'll see. Or maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'll get swatted. Kelly, I'm glad you finally got back in Kick. Good job. That's where all the cool kids are hanging out. Let's go through. Guys, I'm just cycling through messages. I don't want to miss. This is your time right here.
Yeah, you've hit most of them there, brother.
Dan says, who thinks there's actually going to be a debate 2 days before sentencing? I think there will, unless if Joe Biden was smart, he certainly would not want to debate Donald Trump 2 days before sentencing. But what a stage for Mr. Trump. Oh. What a stage. Okay, Battle Gnome has a question here.
No, he actually, it's an unpopular opinion. I'll actually see if I can get that up on the screen real quick.
There's a little lag between the time we actually pin something and it pops up, but
there it goes.
There it goes. Unpopular opinion, but let me explain. I really, really hope they do arrest him and throw him in jail 4 days before the convention. Maybe it would wake up the slow ones in the back. Listen, you're right, Battle Gnome. You're right, Corey. But here's the deal. These people that are radical left are, first of all, they're mentally ill. I might as well talk to this wall back here because nothing that happens in this world will change their mind. But I think the people that are moderates, I think the people that are now sending money to the Trump campaign that never did before, that never ever gave to the Republican Party, I think these are the people that we certainly will get. Yeah, they will. Jeff says the deep state Republicans will not be moved. The deep state ones will not, of course, because they're out for their own interests. You're right. But it's not them. I mean, to a certain extent, when they're status quo, you're right. We have to worry about them. But when something so drastic like this happens and the populace is just making that shift, Jeff, I think they have no power. They have zero power. And either they get on the train or they get run over by the train.
There must be a new person.
Bullshit. I like the name, first of all. Bullshit. If you have a real name, go ahead and give it to us if we do know you. He says that the imprisonment of political enemies is a very, very old tactic. 100%. But it's not an old tactic here in the United States, unfortunately. And if it ever was, right, it's been so undercover without this whole, internet and mass media. We never knew about it. But that's third world country. And that's why a lot of people are saying this has become a banana republic. You're right. What did Cheese Doodle say? I don't know. I think who knows? Who knows if he's going to debate? If he's dumb if he debates. He's dumb. But here's the problem. He already called Trump out. He thought Trump was going to back out. But now Trump already said, listen, we'll do it anywhere, anytime. You want CNN to moderate it? Yeah, I'm in. All right, because he knows. All right, he knows that he's going to wipe the floor with this guy.
And that guy knows that he's going to get the floor wiped with him too.
Absolutely. And bullshit. Go ahead and hit that follow button, brother. So we pump them numbers up a little bit. Yeah, it could happen. And, you talk about, and Dan says, what about imprisoning voters? I'm not worried about imprisoning voters so much as putting that whole social media score up for people, right? They say, okay, listen, you posted this bad about the federal government, there's something, there are some repercussions. And you say, no, that would never happen. It's happening in Canada right now, guys. People are getting arrested for what they're posting on social media. So it's there. It's happening. Let's see. Off topic, but relevant. Rev says another copper murdered in Minneapolis. That's what happens when you have a communist government. It happened in the ghetto. Imagine that. Yeah, I hate going through Minneapolis, and I'm glad that now they're at least flying from the North 40 in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, down to Orlando, because I don't have to pick up Mrs. Tooch in that shithole of a city. Am I allowed to say shithole? Am I going to get banned for saying that St. Paul, Minneapolis is a shithole? Because it is.
Yeah.
So
I'm going around it.
It's bullshit, I think, Tooch. Yeah, it is bullshit. Bullshit. All right.
Well, yeah,
whatever.
We don't know who he is.
Yeah, hit the follow button. Bullshit. Even though, I get it. Well, Cheese Doodle says it's his handler's choice, not him. But they've already thrown the gauntlet down for the debate. Cheese Doodle. They've thrown the gauntlet down, and they didn't think that Donald J. Trump would pick it up and say, "Okay, let's do it." So now they're stuck. They look so weak if they don't debate right now that they're done. They're 100% done. So, but good. I'm glad that you recognize that, though, baby girl, because that shows that I have raised you well. Well, and here's the thing. So they're talking about that social media score Rev is talking about, and they'll come to your house. Yeah, they'll come to your house if they find something that was deeming dangerous against the government. But it's a bigger game. Okay, so let's say your social media score, like in China, gets too low. Okay, well now you're not allowed to buy. You're only allowed to buy 3 pounds of meat this week instead of your normal 10 pounds of meat. Okay, that's where this is going. That's where all of this is going. That way they can control every aspect of what you do. Will says, I'm trying to give Will a little attention since I deleted one of his comments last week. It's not about the party for us. It's about 4 years we had to swallow the indoctrination and total control of our lives. Yeah, and Will, it's not so much, to some extent, the total control of our lives had to do a lot with COVID also, and because we showed them that they can control us. The majority of us could be controlled by putting out an amped up flu virus.
Social scores will bar you from your bank accounts, travel, and purchases.
Exactly, and you say, and Jeff, that's what Jeff said, and you say that'll never happen. No, it did. It does happen. Okay, Bank of America is stopping people from using their credit card and debit card for buying ammunition. Okay, and if they do buy ammunition, they volunteer that information to the federal government. Okay, this is all about control. It's all about, and this is why, look, pay cash for everything you can.
Absolutely. Well, I saw up here a little earlier, Botrix mentioned TroysGate. How's the signups going for that?
We do have good signups for the TroysGate thing, guys. We're almost half full already with about 3 more people that are committed that have not put their deposit down. So if you haven't put your deposit down for TroysGate, let's go ahead and do that as soon as you can. Look, even if you can't pay for the 2-day class, which I would love to spend the first day with you, if you've already put your $300 deposit down, another $20 or $30 gets you into the second day at TroysGate. Okay, so don't let that hold you up. If you've already had basic pistol, you don't feel like you need it from a guy like me, I get it, I understand, but put that $300 down. It's only going to cost you another $20 more to do the TroysGate experience on that Tuesday. So, absolutely. Speaking of TroysGate, should we pay bills?
Let us pay some bills.
All right, let's run a TroysGate
and we'll take a little break. We'll take a little break and come back and talk about some bug out bags. What do you think?
Sounds good to me, brother. Okay, hang tight, guys.
Right.
Hey, hold on, Russ.